day! I am your literary luminary, and at this juncture, I assume that you have there with you already the copy of the story entitled Sir Lancelot and Elaine, because it is of great help for you to locate the things that we will be discussing for today. So, if everything is being settled, kindly scan the page 4, paragraph 32 for your reference. This first special section of the text that we will be talking about contains a very powerful lesson that we could ponder on. Paragraph 32 states, and I quote, "But Sir Gawain did not want to obey the king. He didn't want to leave the feasting and merriment that followed the tournament. Yet, since all Arthur's knights had vowed for obedience, Gawain was ashamed not to go. So sulkily, like no true knight, he left the feast." You might wonder why I am picking this one. Because Sir Gawain's action at that particular moment is a reminder that we should be responsible at all times. It's not that we should be submissive, but word of honor is more important than worldly things. The point here is that Sir Gawain almost failed King Arthur's expectation of what a true knight is all about. For we all know that a knight must have a word of honor the moment that he had vowed his oath to knighthood. Disobedience is a very big deal, right? Then, if we will bring that context in the present times, we should man up through being responsible in everything that we ought to perform. Let's take an example of being a Filipino student. We want a greater Philippines, but the problem is that you didn't act properly towards your responsibility of being one. You procrastinate, you cheat, and you let yourself be consumed with laziness without taking action towards it. That is why we should take full responsibility towards all our actions, because it will boomerang to you in a 360 degrees trajectory if you exhibited the other way around. So that's it. And now let's move forward to the second special section. Kindly locate page 7, paragraph 56. It states here, and I quote, "Then day by day she grew more sad and still. 'She will die,' said her father sadly, as he watched her. And the grave Sir Torre sobbed, for he loved his sister dearly." You might ask why I am choosing this one. For it reminds us that we shouldn't be a toxic lover. For instance, you love that particular guy, but it doesn't mean that he is now obliged to love you in return. Then, rejection equates a brand new beginning of something greater beyond compare. What I'm trying to say is that, this is for the general public, that upon loving someone, we should be rational at all times. We shouldn't be selfish when loving, though I'm aware that love is something hard to resist. But we should be mindful of our boundaries, that we shouldn't cross the lines because it's a red flag. Of course, it's a red flag. It certainly is and forever will be. Always remember that true love doesn't need to be forced, because if it's really meant for you, it will come into your life, and that's irrevocable. Furthermore, if you will insist on love that is full of toxicity, it is not only you that will be affected, but also the people that surrounds you will be affected too. In the part where Elaine was being boldly rejected by that man, that's supposedly the perfect time that she should forget him and move forward. It's not because she is bitter, but always remember that a rejection doesn't make you feel less than a person. You are special. We all are. It's not our job to make them feel like a man to someone that they are not. Moving on, in connection to the story, I have discovered some literary devices that were being used into it, in which we can also connect it to the elements of fiction. Number 1, the first element of fiction that I have encountered in the story is the character in the persona of Elaine. Upon introducing her character, the author uses simile as a literary device. So if we take a look to the paragraph number 2, it is said, and I quote, "As she passed their windows in her white frock, they looked at the white lilies growing in their gardens, and they said, 'She is tall and graceful as these,' and they called her the Lily Maid of Astolat." In here, the author uses simile, which is a recognizable one. This is a figure of speech comparing two unlike things that is often introduced by like or as. Elaine were perceived to be like a lily since for we all know like any other women from a noble family, they are of beautiful appearances, making them look different from most normal people that we usually see. Number 2. Together, let's take a look to page 3, paragraph 24. The paragraph in the middle part of that page to be exact. You guys found it already? So the element of fiction being used on this scenario is the narrative perspective or the point of view. This is the third person point of view under the limited narrator category. It only focuses on Lavaine's thoughts about the scenario that he have witnessed at that part of the story. In connection to that, the author uses symbol as a literary device. Surprisingly, there are a lot of symbols that were being used in this paragraph, like the throne, diamond, marvelous dress of rich gold, and the crown, all of which signifies power and nobleness. As a proof to that, kindly listen the lines that I will be reading to you. Here it is. And when Lavaine saw the king sitting on a high throne, ready to judge which knight was worthy to have the diamond, he did not think of the grandeur of the throne, nor the king's marvelous dress of rich gold, nor the jewels in his crown. He could only think of the nobleness and beauty of the great king's face, and wish that his fair sister Elaine might see him too. Then, let's now take a look to the writing style of the author. The author's writing style is very Western. I mean, where can you find a medieval story that doesn't talk about rich people and how they deal things? The stories of this kind is not an avant-garde, that it don't evoke the realities of the lives of the people in the lower class society. So personally, the writing style of the author was great. It is comprehensible for it doesn't use archaic words like Shakespeare's. Though I'm not saying that Shakespeare is not good, he is beyond great in his field. Lancelot and Elaine's story contain multitudes. It's a very powerful one actually. It's worth reading for, I tell you.